Good morning. What's up? What's up? What's up? You are tuned to the Madam President morning show. I just want to say happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. First of all, let me get my... All right, since we got to jump in and pop in this morning, I just want to say happy Friday. We are in it to win it. It's Friday. If you're working, if you're getting your life together this Friday, good for you. I'm happy for you. I'm the same. I'm focused Friday. All right, let's get it popping. Where you're from, as you know, I'm from Chicago, born and raised. But I do live in Georgia. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. So I just want to say what's up to all of my good people. Be one. Also, I just would like to say, if you don't know, if you're tuning in for the very first time, I'm Madam President with a Z. This is the morning show where you will get real news, a bold truth, and I am 100% politically incorrect. This is also brought to you by FlyNubianMoney.com. FlyNubianMoney.com. This is where you get your education. This is where you get your financial literacy. This is where you get more of the truth in all aspects to life. So if you can, text Queens to 87948 so you can keep up with the schedule, so you can get information about webinars, seminars, etc. It is one place that you do not want to miss, or it's one place that you will enjoy being at for sure. FlyNubianMoney.com. All right, so it's a lot happening in the world. Of course, I don't even have to look for the news. The news always finds me because the world is constantly turning and there are things that are always happening no matter what. I hope you all are. Oh, before we go any further, let me say a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this glorious Friday. We thank you for waking us up this morning. We thank you for allowing this day to be a part of our lives. You know what our needs are. You know what's on our hearts. We just ask that you tend to every aspect of our lives. Keep us safe and give us peace. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. I got to have my prayer. I got to do that because what are we without the grace of God? Who are we without the grace of God? Anyways, I just would like to move on by saying that Robert F. Kennedy, yes, Robert F. Kennedy, he's in the hot seat because, of course, Donald Trump has appointed him for a position in health. What is the position? He is appointed. He has to sit before Congress to, of course, they have to go through this entire process to be picked for the Secretary of Health and Human Services. So this particular question pops up where a sister, a Black woman, Senator Angela Alsobrooks, addresses Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about his previous comments. He was caught saying Black people should not receive the same vaccine schedule as whites. Now, I don't know how he's going to make it make sense. How are you going to make it make sense, Mr. Robert Kennedy? So let me play the video for you so you can see it for yourself, because you already know. I'm not trying to make you see it with me. I want you to see it for yourself. All right, so here's what Robert F. Kennedy...
there's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that Blacks need fewer antigens, to particular antigens that Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that.
And finally, I want to ask you, I have you said you were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours. Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that the particular antigens that
this is so dangerous.
You get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
I mean, do you think science is dangerous?
Yes, she's right. She's voting against your views. This really pissed me off because this is the challenge that I'm having with what he's saying. The challenge that I'm having with what he's saying is, let me find you. Black people have a historical relationship with medicine, the healthcare system, and righteousness. We already know we do not have the comfort, we do not have the support that is required to go into hospitals and doctors, and we do not have time for the person who is over public health and safety to have a racist mindset as it relates to something like medicine. This ideology that Black people are superhuman. See, this is what he was saying. Black people have a better immune system than whites, okay? So the reality is, he's like, no, they don't need the same vaccine schedule. Now, here's the thing. Black folks, you already know, we ain't crazy about a bunch of vaccines, getting shot up, shoots, none of that stuff. But the reality is, the idea that whites have a different lungs, that whites have a different bloodstream, a different heart, that is old science, old philosophy that don't need to be present as we supposedly try to be progressive. But I want to show you something else about this, because the idea, the historical past that we have with medicine, it ain't new. I got another video to show you. Let me show you this right here.
Runs a COVID-19 testing site in Harlem. In his 20 years of providing healthcare in African-American communities, he's witnessed patient after patient reluctant to seek the medical help they need or enroll in clinical trials, worried their care will be impacted by the color of their skin.
Our grandparents, our great-grandparents have passed along the mistrust of the healthcare system.
And as the nation rolls out the coronavirus vaccine, a study conducted by the NAACP and COVID Collaborative found just 14% of African Americans trust a vaccine will be safe, and only 18% trust it will be effective.
And I see the hesitation with the African Americans and Latino Americans taking the vaccination just because of historical factors.
Some of my family members say they want to take it. Some say, no, I'm not going to take it.
A decision especially difficult for Ron Lax, the grandson of Henrietta Lax.
In 1951, she went to Johns Hopkins Hospital for cervical cancer.
Henrietta Lax, known as the mother of modern medicine, was portrayed by Oprah Winfrey in The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lax.
She didn't donate nothing. They took them and didn't ask.
Without her knowledge or consent, doctors collected a sample of Henrietta's cancer cells for experiments. The cells were replicated in a lab and used to develop breakthrough treatments and cures from polio to AIDS, leukemia, and even coronavirus. Her cells have been replicated and sold all over the world, benefiting countless pharmaceutical companies.
The family tried to find out more about it, and doors was really shut in our faces.
And medical experiments on African Americans started long before Henrietta Lax. There were the men of Tuskegee, Alabama. The year was 1932. The U.S. Public Health Service told 600 African American men, mostly rural farmers, they would be treated for bad blood. But that was a lie.
There were 600 African-American men, 399 of whom had syphilis, and they were unknowingly included as subjects in this longitudinal research study.
28 men in the study died from syphilis. 100 more passed away from related complications. The federal government continued the Tuskegee experiment for 40 years. Dr. Peter Millett is executive.
40 years. 40 years. So this is historical. So Mr. Kennedy has to understand that we don't have time for a person in positions of power that have a distorted view on Blacks being superhuman, on Blacks, you know, there's a study that also shows that doctors believe that Black women can endure more pain than white women. This is all historical. This is all documented as well. So he's not the person to lead a change in a society if he's going to have an old, distorted, old school perspective on Black people being superhuman. I do not give him, not that he has asked me or anyone has asked me, but he does not have my vote. Anyways, I also want to show you this video. Don't forget, I need you all to communicate with me a little bit more in the chat. I need you all to act like you're here. I don't know if you're at work or what's going on, if you're working from home, but can you, interact with me a little bit? This is flynubianmoney.com. I don't know if you all want me to start singing and dancing. I won't do it, but I want you all to interact with me. Say yes, say no. Do you believe Robert F. Kennedy should be over public health and safety based on his viewpoints on Black people and vaccines? Don't forget, text Queens to 87948. Also, yeah, let me know where you tune in from. Are you tuning in? What are your thoughts? Do you believe that he's fit? Do you believe that that was just one statement that he made in 2021 and, he won't have a biased perspective? He does, I've seen his tone change a lot since he started this hearing. So, when he was running for president, he was very adamant about the science that's going on, the food, the coloring, the dye coloring, the McDonald's, all of that. However, it seems as if, as he got into the position and started the hearing, they asked, well, let me ask you this. He says, I like McDonald's, I don't like it, but my boss does. I believe his boss is Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump like a burger and fry. I don't believe it, but okay. So all that to say, we got a first timer. Let's give a first timer a good welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in for the very first time to the Madam President morning show. I appreciate that so much. Let me give you a hand clap. I don't get a chance to use my... All right. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. Good. So basically, Tamara, she says, no, he should not be over public health and safety. His outdated views are the reason that President Trump chose him for the position. Let me tell you about those private conversations. One thing for sure is when people have private conversations is a lot different than the public, okay? So you're absolutely right. I'm with you on that. You never know what he's telling the people and then what he's telling Trump or anyone else of that matter. So it's a no. If you got distorted viewpoints on Black people being superhuman, and this is a problem, we cannot have people believe in that. But I want to show you something that back in the day, I never forget, in Baldwin's I Am Not Your Negro, I went to go see this at the movies, and something that really stuck with me is James Baldwin, who's a favorite of mine. He basically talked about how him and Lorraine Hansberry, I know you know A Raisin in the Sun, but Lorraine Hansberry, she was a young playwright. She was only about 30 plus years old before she passed away of cancer. But the point that I'm making is her, Lorraine Hansberry, and Baldwin, they had a meeting with Bobby Kennedy. And in the meeting with Bobby Kennedy, they wanted him to, I'm going to show you. I don't even want you to listen to me about this. I'm going to show you because I want to show you how politically we have always been in this position politically of, you know, hey, do me a favor. And this is their behavior behind it. Let me show you this right here.
On the living room couch. And you tell it to him in the morning when his mother goes out of here to take care of somebody else's kids. And tell it to me when we want some curtains or some drapes and you sneak out of here and go work in somebody's kitchen. All I want is to make a future for this family. All I want is to be able to stand in front of my boy like my father never was able to do to me.
I must sketch now the famous Bobby Kennedy meeting. Lorraine Hansberry would not be very much younger than I am now if she were alive. At the time of the Bobby Kennedy meeting, she was 33. That was one of the very last times I saw her on her feet, and she died at the age of 34. I miss her so much. People forget how young everybody was. Bobby Kennedy, for another quite different example, was 38. We wanted him to tell his brother, the president, to personally escort to school on that day or the day after a small black girl already scheduled to enter Deep South School. That way, we said, it will be clear that whoever spits on that child will be spitting on the nation. He didn't understand this either. It would be, he said, a meaningless moral gesture. We would like, said Lorraine, from you a moral commitment. He looked insulted, seemed to feel that he'd been wasting his time. Well, Lorraine sat still, watching all the while. She looked at Bobby Kennedy, who perhaps for the first time looked at her. But I'm very worried, she said, about the state of the civilization which produced that photograph of the white cop standing on that Negro woman's neck in Birmingham. Then she smiled, and I am glad that she was not smiling at me.
Let me just say this. I don't know if you understand what she said. Lorraine Hansberry, a woman of status, a woman who had some sense of prestige, and Baldwin as well, because you don't get the Attorney General of the United States in a meeting if you don't have some form of access. So when Black people use their access to your benefit, you have got to make sure that you support them, all right? So the issue is a lot of people are using their access, for front row seats at the game. A lot of people are using their access, for the mansion and the hills, but a lot of people are not using their access for the people. And I was really upset about this at one point in time. And, God basically let me know that everybody's responsibility is different. Everybody is not here to move a people. Everybody is not here to, encourage and fight for a people. So you have to be supportive to those who are. That's number one. Number two, what I would like to say as it relates to Baldwin, Hansberry, and Bobby Kennedy is that he told this woman, I think me going to the school with this girl who was going to be bullied and harmed because she was walking through a hostile environment. He said, I think that's a meaningless gesture of morality. I think it's a meaningless moral gesture. Lorraine Hansberry says, I don't. We think we need a moral commitment. And she didn't get it, but she had enough balls to say what a lot of people wouldn't say. So my point of the matter is this right here. It is the history of the Kennedy. The history of the Kennedy. to say that they are progressive, to pretend as if they are progressive, but they are not willing to jeopardize their own liberty, that they are not willing to jeopardize their own comfort for that thing that they desire, which is the support of Black Americans. So all that to say that Robert Kennedy, yeah, you just like your uncle, your brother, your cousin, whoever, daddy, I don't know, but you just like them. And this is not an interest of, of Black people. If you believe that Black people should not have access to something at the exact same time as whites, then you might as well say that we might as well go through the back door, because that's what I hear. Put them through the back door medically, baby, and I ain't for it. So moving on, I just wanted to say really quickly, you tuned to flynubianmoney.com. This is the Madam Prezident Morning Show. If you have not seen the movie I Am Not Your Negro, I think it's worth checking out. It's a very good documentary. I enjoyed it. I like history, though. I have the tendency to enjoy the greats to the point. Let me show you. I literally have it on my wall. I got Baldwin on my wall. I got King on my wall. I got Malcolm on my wall. I got Langston Hughes on my wall. I got Nelson Mandela on my wall. I got Assata Shakur on my wall. So I have the tendency, I genuinely enjoy history. It's not a facade. It's not a thing for the internet. It's not for the gram. It's who I am. Boys, let me go ahead and drop that. I said, it's not for the gram. It's because of who I am. Let me go ahead and do that. No, that's not the right one. All right. So moving on, as you know, in this presidency, we can't have a day go by without discussing Donald Trump. So let me just tell you what's happening right here. If you can see it, say, I can see it. If you can see that Meta will pay Donald Trump $25 million to settle censorship lawsuit he filed against them for suspending his social media accounts after January 6th. Let me just say that if you can see this, put 25, all right? Put 25 in the chat, put 25 in the chat. So let me just say that what's happening is he's saying that, hey, you all banned my account and you're going to have to pay. It says that the parent company of social media like Facebook and Instagram has settled a lawsuit brought to them by Donald Trump in 2021 after the company suspended his social media accounts as a result of the January 6th attack on Capitol Hill. Now, this was always a very dangerous thing. One of the reasons that it was dangerous is because it's an inconsistency. So the inconsistency is pretty much like, oh yeah, you can say what you want, but if you ain't saying what I like, we're going to suspend your account. So that was always a dangerous thing. But now that this man has been back into office, they have settled on $25 million. Now, my thing is, what Facebook going to give us? They was selling our information. They was lying to us, selling our information and lying, but we ain't get nothing. We got a little ad that says, I'm sorry, you could trust us. They were selling our information nonstop. We got nothing. They didn't even send us a $25 check and gave him $25 million. So let me just say, they gonna do what they gonna do. And I also would like to share, don't forget you tune to the flynubianmoney.com. We're going to move on from that. We already know what they're going to do. They're going to do what they're going to do, period. 24/7. The next thing I want to show you really quickly before I close us out for the day is these are the flight attendants that was working. And this is important for me to share, okay? I want you all to see this. If you can see this in the chat, put flight crew inside the chat if you can see this. This is something that I want to share. So you have 4 people that were all working together and they all went down together. So they were living, working together, and they had their last day on earth together. This is something that I want you all to understand right here. You have all different age groups right here. You have all different ethnicities, and you have 2 different genders right here. And at the end of the day, I want us to have a full and complete understanding is that we are all working together. We always have these different fights online about, race and gender and all of this classism war. But I want to show you that we're all working together. Look at these people. All come from different backgrounds, but we always end up in the same place together. So the reality is, systemically, people make us have animosity and anger towards people and things that we shouldn't have anger and animosity towards. This is a Black woman. She's working with an older white man. She's working with a brown Latino man. The reality is that we're all working together. This ideology that we are some kind of way against one another is not real. We're not. Now, we're against the systems that are racist. We are against the systems that are biased. We are against the system that is trying to ensure that Black and brown people do not have any form of acceleration. But I just want you all to always keep in mind that it's the system that we are against. We are not against one another. I'm a person who take Uber all over the world. I go to LA, I get an Uber driver. It's an older white man. In Atlanta, I get an Uber driver. Sometimes it's a Black man. Sometimes it's a Asian man. Sometimes it's a Latino woman. So the reality is we're all taking care of one another. So there is never any reason to be against a person based on the color of their skin, based on their gender. It's no reason for that. And any time that you feel that, it's coming from a place that's been embedded inside of you that is outside of God. All right. I just wanted to say, God bless these people and their families. May God give them the peace that's necessary to move on. May God, if they have children, may their children find comfort. If their parents are alive, may their parents find comfort. Grief is not easy. So of course we send our condolences to these people and their families during this time. All right, guys, it is Friday. I just want to tell you, I'm trying to figure out Monday. I have a special guest coming in on Monday. I got a special guest coming in on Monday, but he's not available until 10 a.m. But I'm still going to do my 9:30 a.m. show. I just got to figure out how I'm going to get him recorded. I'll figure that out on the back end. I just want to say you all have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Do not forget, you're tuned to the Madam President Morning Show. You already know what's going to happen when you come here. You're going to get real news. You're going to get a bold truth. I am 100% politically incorrect. Do me a favor and tell a friend about this show. Share about this show. Also, if you want to support Madam President in any capacity, this is the best way. I have a store on Shopify. It's www.thefreedom.company. Every design that you see, I designed it personally. Every word I came up with myself. I have a creative brain, and sometimes this is the outlet for that. I just would like to say that I appreciate you, I enjoy you, and I hope you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. Don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. I am One Madam President with a Z, One Madam President. All right, I'm out. Have a good weekend, guys. See you on Monday.